where I have if you post it in ledger it would look like. Today's explanation is to make we all know that it involves recording, classifying, and summarizing financial transactions. Recording is done in the book of primary entry, that is in journal entry. Now, in ledger, what we exactly do is we classify all the entries which are written in the journal entries in different heads. That is what is called as accounts, and this is why the ledger is called as the book of secondary entry. So a journal entries doesn't provide all the information of a particular account at one place, and that is why there comes the need of preparing a ledger. And in ledger we put all the accounts, whatever real, nominal, personal we have used in journal entry, same will be using in the ledger as well. So if you see the definition given by L.C. Cropper, he says that the book which contains all the classified and permanent record of all transactions of a business, that is called as ledger. Let's move to the next slide. It says that ledger is a book with various accounts, real, personal and nominal account, and each account we show it on a different page, and it gives the summary of that particular account. We write all the transactions in this account, and finally we come to know what is the net balance of that particular account. So ledger is a book of account which contains all classified summary of every transaction which is written in journal, which is recorded in our journal book of primary entry. Next we have is advantages of ledger. First and foremost is complete information. At a glance we see when we put every transaction, every entry in its proper account. So all the transactions when they are pertaining to an account are collected at one place in the ledger. When we look at that, from the balance we come to know, we understand collective effect of all the transactions at a glance. The next we have is arithmetic accuracy. Now, because the balances which are created in the ledger, as you all remember in accounting cycle, from journal we prepare ledger, and from ledger balances we make trial balance. And trial balance, there you will see that the debit balances and credit balances will be same. So when they are same, we come to know how correct we are in our work, in our recording, in our accounts. So that is why the second advantage of ledger is said to be the arithmetical accuracy of our work could be checked. So with the help of these ledger balances, because trial balance is prepared, we know the arithmetic accuracy of our accounts. Next we have result of business operations. From trial balance we prepare our financial statements to know the financial position of the organization. So that is how we come to know how the result of various the business operations. Then we have accounting information. The data which is supplied by these ledger accounts, they are summarized. Yes, they are analyzed and interpreted for obtaining various accounting information. So that was about various advantages of ledger. Then we have posting in ledger. Every transaction, it has got two accounts, and for every account we'll prepare a separate account. That is what is done in ledger. All the three accounts are taken into consideration, maybe real, nominal or personal account, and all the transaction, whether it is debit or credit, they are posted. Next we have is posting journal entry to concerned side. Like in case if a account is debited in journal entry, we post on the debit side of the account when it comes to ledger. Then whatever posting we are doing in ledger on the debit side, we start with the term to, and when we post anything towards the credit side, we start by the term by. Okay, now balancing an account. When debits and credit are written both the sides of the ledger, the net position of the account we come to know, and that is how the balance in account is done. It will be more clear to you in my next slide, balancing an account. So this was about balancing an account. what exactly done is when we post all the transactions on the debit side and credit side of that particular account, what we generally do is we check which side is the total is more, whether debit side the total is more or the credit side the total is more. Whichever side the total is more, that will be written in the total column, and the same will be copied to the opposite side. In case if debit side is more than the credit side, it is called as debit balance, or if credit side is more than the debit side, it is called as credit balance. So the difference amount, for example, let us assume that debit side is more and the same amount total we have copied to the credit side, but credit side, what is the difference amount to make it to that particular amount in the total? That is that is what we write it as the balance, which is to be carried down to the next year or the next month. So when we are writing this balance carried down, if we are writing it on the debit side, we'll write it as to balance carried down. If we are writing on the credit side, we'll write it as by balance carried down. So the excess of debit balance than the credit total, that is called as debit balance, and the excess of credit total is more than the debit total, that is called as credit balance. Now we have written balance C by D. Now when we start again the next year or the next month, this amount which is to be carried, which goes to the next year or month, that we pull it down as balance B by D. If it is if it is a debit balance, we'll write it on the debit side. If it is a credit balance, we'll write it on the credit side. Or otherwise, I would say if you are writing balance C by D towards the credit side, you will write balance B by D on the debit side. If you are writing balance C by D on the debit side, you will write balance B by D on the credit side. Okay, opposite sides. So that was about the introduction part of the ledger, dear students. Hope you all have understood it. Thank you for listening to my class today.